I think there's a great opportunity. We have companies like Uniqlo who are producing apparel, but they are yet to procure cotton from India, and they are saying we would require better quality. So I think traceability and certification system will be a great way to ensure
AI for every acre, which means that you don't have to generalize your services or information at aggregated at a block level. It can go up to every farm.
advisory for a very large area, a very generic kind of advisory. Now, it's very difficult for farmers to take firm decision based on such generic advisory because these are crucial decisions.
Already 1 million farmers having downloaded an AI-based chatbot in itself is a proof of the fact that that chatbot has lots of back-end data and the compute capacity based on which it is answering questions. Otherwise, 1 million farmers would not have been able to download and talk to an AI.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for starting it. I'd just like to say that what better way to talk about Viksit Bharat than with two people whose first names are Vikas. So we're really looking forward to the discussion today, talking about AI in agriculture, how it can help smallholder farmers, and ultimately how it will improve productivity and help food processing as well. So I'd like to start with a question for Mr. Rastogi. He mentioned in his opening remarks on the Maha-Agri AI policy, 2025 to 2029. So could you tell us a little bit more about how this was conceptualized, what you're thinking about the outcome and the goals by 2029?
Thank you, Burjis. Yeah, I talked about what the policy is, but why did the policy come about? And all credits to our Honorable Chief Minister. Last year when the government was formed, the first task that was given to all the secretaries that we want to use technology and AI in every sector. Now, agriculture is in Maharashtra. Is somehow dependent on agriculture in one way or another. We searched for the entire landscape of what's happening in AI, not only in agriculture but across different sectors in India. That was the first. And of course, India has a AI policy and there's a India AI mission also. But we realized that agriculture doesn't have any dedicated focus. And then we contacted various thought leaders, stakeholders. We had multiple sessions and tried to understand what are the possibilities and what do we need, and came up with a policy which basically is targeted for the farmers but has a role for every stakeholder. So whether it's a farmer producer organization or the processors, exporters, research, academia, the government, everybody figures in the policy and what are the possibilities for them, what are the opportunities for them, everything. And I must also say that our Honorable Deputy Chief Minister in his budget speech announced 500 crores for the first 2 years, and that I think was a big boost to show the commitment of the state behind the initiative.
Thank you. And now to Mr. Kanungo. We've seen that AI is transforming agriculture globally, but in India, smallholders dominate. You often have farmers whose sizes are less than an acre or 1 acre, 2 acres. What does AI for every acre really mean in practical terms? What have you seen about AI benefiting them in your work?
Yeah, so I think the new technologies which have come, they make it possible for the smallholder farmers specifically. Earlier we used to ask, for you to access information or market, do you have computer? Do you have access to internet? Can you run complex smartphone applications? With AI, I think these digital skills now come as a service. As in the case of a question in your local language to a device or to a device can be a smartphone, it can be a telephone line, and all the complex things which earlier were done by these smart apps are done by the systems in the back end, and you get the answer in your own language. So that entire thing which we used to call as impediment, saying there is a lack of digital literacy, etc., doesn't remain. Second, when we're talking about every acre, AI actually allows you to go hyper-local. The advice which earlier used to be restricted to a block level or to a gram panchayat level can now be a farmer level advice, which will make a huge difference. And that's why we're saying AI for every acre, which means that you don't have to generalize your services or information at aggregated at a block level. It can go up to every farmer.
Very helpful, thank you. Now I'll go to Mr. Rastogi. Food safety and traceability are critical for exports. If we want to export our products to other countries, we need to focus more on this and allay the concerns that other people may have on this. But how can blockchain and AI together ensure that this can help Vidarbha specifically? How can we ensure that a Nagpur orange or Vidarbha cotton bale meets the global compliance standards?
I think very apt and unexplored area. Let's talk about cotton first. So the biggest producers of apparels, H&M, etc., very strict safety standards, not only safety standards, the practices, but also how the cotton is being produced, how much water is being used. Now, there is no currently there is no system for us to demonstrate what are the practices that we are using. So, I can go there if that's a problem. So, we need a traceability system. We require a certification system which will be available as a digital public infrastructure. So, whether it's farmers or our farmer producer organizations, the processors, they can all come on the same platform. Now, currently, we have issues like the trash, all the cotton is mixed up, the staple length is not the same, the practices are different. So if we can have bales of uniform cotton, same staple length, similar variety, and the practices are documented, what variety is it, who has produced it, what the package of practices they have used, how much pesticide has been used, what are the irrigation practices. This will create a kind of brand, it will create assurance for the consumers and ultimately the companies that are producing the apparel and yarn to purchase from us. I think there's a great opportunity. We have companies like Uniqlo who are producing apparel, but they are yet to procure cotton from India, and they are saying we would require better quality. So I think traceability and certification system will be a great way to ensure. Cotton is just an example. Any crop will have a similar kind of solution. Yeah, so I think in the inaugural session we had this GI tag, and we are fortunate to have GI tag for many of the raw products as well as the processed products. Now the GI tag gets let's say mixed up with other things, and it's very difficult to really identify which is what. If we see turmeric in Vaigaon has a GI tag, But generally all the packaging that's are available, it's very difficult to say that it's actually from Baigaon. So there is no traceability. Similarly for oranges, which have a unique taste and flavor, high in demand, but again there is no way to find out if they actually are from Nagpur or they have been sourced from other places. So I think the traceability will play an important part. We have Devgarh Hapus. Among all the Alfonso, Devgarh has a unique place. But we have in market Devgarh and maybe Valsad and other sorts of Alfonso. And we really don't know what we are consuming.
Thank you. And now a question to Mr. Kanungo. You had mentioned to me about DPI, Digital Public Infrastructure. How can that be applied to Maharashtra, and how can it be applied to farmers so that they can access advisory services for improving their yields, can access markets for expanding the scope of where they can sell their produce, and also financial services so they can get credit to improve their operations?
Yeah. So thank you. Basically, when we talk about digital public infrastructure, we're talking about a shared public good, which can be used by multiple players, by the government agencies, by the research institutions for research, by industry for getting market access or knowing what is available where. So this is a huge shift because till now we have been working at the systems level. Each department or entity having their own small digital platform or application, doing their thing in a silo, and when somebody wants to connect to it, it is not possible to do it digitally. Say, for example, you're talking about Nagpur oranges. Now the orchard remains at the same place at all the time. The farmers who are working in those orchards have their fixed identities. But what we do is each application, whether it is horticulture department, water department, mandis, trying to create their own system and creating different identities for the same orchard, for the same farmer, etc. When we convert this into a DPI, that becomes a shared system with a single source of truth for each of the entities, be it a land parcel, be it a commodity, be it a farmer, which multiple people can use. That not only reduces lots of inefficiencies, but when you want to export such things, it also brings in lots of standardization, which means that the entire stakeholder group can work as one ecosystem, which with regulations being brought in by the government, standards being brought in by the standard agencies, and the trust enforced by use of technologies like blockchain, etc. So all these things together are being called digital public infrastructure, on top of which multiple agencies or stakeholders can build something called DPGs, which are digital public goods, which again can be used as a shared public resource.
That's great to know, but if we talk about this at the individual farmer level, how can we scale this up faster with the help of FPOs, cooperatives, on DPI, and just AI in general? How can they?
Yeah. As I said, individual farmer has lots of requirements. He needs to access seeds. He needs to get a package of practices as to how he should do his farming to get the best value out of his produce. Then he needs to access public sector or government schemes to get various benefits. He needs access to the market to be able to sell to the trading platforms or to farm to table or seed to shelf kind of systems. DPI enables all this for an individual farmer. As of now, for getting 20 services, he has to go to 20 different departments or entities or portals or applications. With the DPI, for him, the government, we call it whole of government concept, where the government becomes one entity for the individual farmer. He just has to ask what he wants, which department or which application will provide that service is now the responsibility of the back end of the system. So the back end goes to 20 different places based upon what the individual farmer is asking, rather than the farmer having to go to 20 different portals or applications. So that is what makes a huge difference, where for a farmer, you just go to a system and ask for a service without having to know which particular department he has to go to.
Thank you. And a question to Mr. Rastogi. You mentioned Mahavistar. How will that chatbot accelerate the adoption of high-impact agri-innovations at the farm level across Maharashtra?
So Mahavistar, I would say, is really a revolutionary initiative of the government of Maharashtra. What used to happen is we had advisories for farmers, because we get forecast from IMD the next 4-5 days will be this kind of weather, we will have rain or not, whether we'll have temperatures very high or cold. But these are generally at the level of district or even bigger area than that. Now what used to happen is our scientists sit twice a week, and then they analyze the past weather data and the forecast, and then they say, look, for these conditions, this region, let's say Marathwada region or Vidarbha region, the cotton is likely to have some kind of pest or disease outbreak, and this is what the farmer should do. So there will be advisory for a very large area, a very, very generic kind of advisory. Now, it's very difficult for farmers to take firm decision based on such generic advisory, because these are crucial decisions. If you say there might be a pest attack, now it requires some money, investment of money to go for some kind of spray. Now whether he should actually go for that, whether pest will actually come or not, if he spends 4,000 rupees in spray and there was no attack because his local area did not have that kind of weather. The weather might be in headquarter of, let's say, Nagpur or Amravati, but not his area where he is growing the crops, or the soil condition, etc., is such that he probably did not require certain intervention. So there was a huge need that I would like to get an advisory which is suitable for me. You tell me for what my action points are. So picking up what Vikas just said about DPI, you might have heard about AgriStack. So AgriStack is a digital public infrastructure. These are set of registries which have data about farmers, their plots, where these are, and the crops. So this gives us an idea of where the farmer is. And we have AWS, around 2,000 AWS automatic weather stations across the state. So we know what is the microclimate. Now using these data points and using generative AI capability, it is now easy for us to identify who the farmer is, what are his crops is, and currently what is the crop stage. We can give hyperlocal and localized advisory, and this is exactly what Mahavistar is doing. Mahavistar is a one-stop shop for all sorts of information and advisory. It gives you data about what has been the weather like, what is the forecast, what are the market prices, where are the storages available, what package of practices the farmer need to undertake. So entire thing on click of a button on an app, and we are also going for voice telephony. The farmer simply has to ask the question and he gets an answer using AI. Mahavistar AI is getting a lot of traction. More than 10 lakh farmers have downloaded the app. We have more than 2.5 lakh farmers who are actually using AI chatbot.
That's excellent traction and great to see it impacting farmers in a positive way. So Mr. Kanungo, talking about agri large language models, the LLMs, how is this converting, this divide we see in urban rural, and how is digital bridging that divide?
Yeah, I think I talked about it earlier also. With the language models, the entire concept of having literacy to be able to access services is no more there, and that is something which was seen as a biggest reason for the digital divide. So, in our field, we say that if you could use these LLMs by integrating them to the service delivery mechanisms, there is, I think, once in a lifetime opportunity to convert the digital divide into digital dividend. Because you can now use digital technology. So earlier, it's very interesting. The definition of digital literacy earlier was a human being having to learn how to interact with digital systems. With large language models, the digital literacy is totally flipped. It is about machines having to learn how to interpret what a human is asking for, and then delivering him that with agentic AI and other things. So I think all those definitions with LLM as to what a digital literacy means and what all is possible are changing very fast, and I think in another 3-4 years with quantum computing coming, it has been predicted that you won't have to learn anything in another 10 years. All the knowledge would be available in something called a ambient intelligent environment around us. And you ask for what you want, the system picks it up from that huge environment and delivers it to you. That is what the LLMs can enable actually, because you just have to ask for it.
But given that India is such a diverse country with so many different languages, so many different dialects within languages, can the LLMs adapt to the diversity of India? Because we were discussing how sometimes, Hindi is not enough, a specific dialect of Hindi, Marathi is not enough, a dialect of Marathi. Some places speak, indigenous languages that are spoken by very few people. So how will, LLMs adapt to the reality that is India?
So basically, I think for a LLM to work for a particular language, all it needs is a dictionary of that language. And then I agree that lots of work to understand dialects, but fortunately for India, we already had an initiative called Bhashini by Government of India, which has created these kinds of dictionaries in all the Indian languages, which can easily be fed into an LLM engine. Of course, for the dialects, I think one has to work, but we have been able to do some work. Say, for example, in UP, we have one organization called International Rice Research Institute, which has been able to create a language dictionary, not only in Hindi, but with the words which farmer understands or they talk. If I can feed that into an LLM, it will not only be a Hindi language model, but a language model for the farmers. Similarly, talking about the global systems, one university in Dubai is building an Agri LLM, and for which FAO, which is Food and Agriculture Organization of United Nations, have given their entire global library to them. So LLMs are just now technologies. It has building blocks. All the building blocks and the algorithms remaining the same. Just feeding the dictionary of a particular language creates an LLM in that language. And I think Government of India has, under India AI mission, funded multiple organizations to do this for the country.
That's superb. Excellent to hear about the Bhashini initiative and how that's being implemented.
You will actually, in February 19-20th, there is India AI Impact Summit in Delhi, of which Maharashtra's Agri AI also happens to be a satellite event. And you will see Government of India announcing some voice LLMs in Indian languages during that conference. So it is not only that we have to reach there, we've already made them, we'll just announce them in another 2-3 months.
Great, we're all very much looking forward to that. So I'll end with a question for both our panelists. If we were to fast forward 5 years, what does an AI-enabled farm in Maharashtra look like? And what are some of the top changes in farmers' decision making that you'll see farmers being able to make thanks to AI?
So one thing I feel agentic AI will also take a center stage, because giving information, giving advisory is one part. What to do based on that, what actions to take. And it is possible for Gen AI based tools to actually provide that solution. Let me give you an example. Now, a farmer says, my crop is ready to harvest, and this is the area, this is likely the crop I am going to have. Now, advise me what to do. Now, there are two, three things. One is, of course, after harvesting, you store it and then wait for market to prices to be good for them, or connect him to the nearest market if the prices are good. Now, in case the farmer chooses, okay, the prices are currently good and I can actually sell, then connect to maybe the private mandis or other value chain players could be there. In case the farmer says, I would like to store, maybe the tool itself get connected, connect the farmers to the storage warehouses and say, look, there is a farmer at such and such place who would like to store, let's say, 10 tons of soybean. Now, what are the rates you offer? And you, so it kind of matchmaking. There could be 3-4 such vendors, and the farmer may ultimately choose. So, agentic AI capability will take it further, where farmers will be able to get the best of what solutions are available, what opportunities are available. Farmer can say, look, I would like to diversify, I would like to go for some horticulture. Are there any schemes of Government of Maharashtra or any other initiatives? And the chatbot will say, look, such and such a scheme is good enough for you, these are the subsidy amount, this is the investment that you have to, and farmers say, why don't you help me in applying for it? And it gets seamlessly connected to the DBT portal that we have using the farmer ID. So these kind of agentic AI capability will help farmers to access lot of opportunity without going into the nitty-gritty of where to go, what forms to fill, whom to contact, etc. I think there's a huge opportunity in AI. Second, I would say the way our research is being conducted, we'll see a quantum change. Of course, connecting to the industry for identifying the problem areas that require solution is one, but the kind of data that we are generating, but we are not able to utilize for optimum research, I think AI tools will make it possible for researchers to get access to curated data sets, getting lot of inferences and shaping of the research in a much more optimum manner. So these 2-3 things, I think logistics and supply chain will of course get how to get the best route, how to provide access to markets in the best optimum manner, lower cost. There are multiple possibilities. I think it's for all of us to sit down together and put our brains together to identify what all can be done. I see endless possibilities.
That's excellent. We're very much looking forward to the onset of agentic AI in agriculture and also seeing how it impacts the whole supply chain piece with marketing, transportation, logistics, etc. Mr. Kanungo?
Yeah, I think most of it has been said by Vikas sir. I would only add to that that if I were to imagine farming 5 years down the line, given the kind of technologies which are now available for us to use, one thing I can clearly see that the farming becoming a proactive kind of a farming rather than a reactive farming, because we would have AI tools, lots of predictive modeling can be done, so a farmer will not be responding after an event happens. He would actually know much before the event happens, and it will be more like a proactive farming. Second thing I see is nowadays, whenever we talk about a farmer, if I ask you to imagine a farmer in your mind, you would basically imagine a person in kurta pajama with a bullock cart and largely a poor person. I think with these kind of technologies, if rightly used, and the benefits which we want farmers, maybe a farmer 5 years, 10 years down the line, I would imagine a farmer having a person using drones, maybe a farmer with a Audi or a BMW, not with a bullock cart. And finally, as you said in your opening welcome address, that we don't have to celebrate our leadership in wherever we've already succeeded. We have to see what is possible with. Now, what is possible is not limited by what the technology can do. It is limited by your own imagination as to what you want to do with that technology. And I think this entire effort of AI4Agri conference is to have that collective imagination brought to a single place so that we can distill that and use that for next phase of our Maha-Agri AI policy implementation and the roadmap.
Fascinating to think of a future where AI can be so transformative that the very conception, the very image of a farmer can change. We're really looking forward to that, and to see farmers who are so data-driven, data-informed, that they use that to make the right decisions. And yes, it's so important to be preventative and proactive instead of reactive. And we've seen that, how that impacts healthcare, for example, taking the right decisions to prevent disease rather than focusing on treating the disease once it happens. So great to see that happening in Agri also. We have some time for questions, so I'd like to open it up to the audience. If anyone has questions, we could take a couple and then I'll summarize. Please, sir.
Yeah.
Please ask.
One, two. One.
Hi, I'm Rahul Karangre. I'm working with Infosys. It's been 21 years I'm into IT. So my question to, I have two questions basically. I completely, thrilled the initiatives that we are taking on AI, we are training the LLMs and things like that. But still, I can see, if I see the figures, only I think 1 crore or 1.5 crore farmers have so far registered on the Kisan portal, which we have across India. Whereas in Maharashtra, I think we have around, 2 crores farmer all across and around 40 lakhs in Vidarbha region. So my question is, how we are going to endorse these initiatives in Vidarbha region? Because still in Vidarbha, when I roam around and I see the awareness or the education level of our farmer in Vidarbha is at very low, right? Still, the कृषी अधिकारी विदर्भातला कृषी अधिकारी विचारायचं झालं तर तो बराच वेळेला 8 तास माशा मारत बसलेला असतो, अशी परिस्थिती आहे सर. तर ते एंडोर्समेंट कसं करणार विदर्भातल्या शेतकऱ्यांसाठी? दॅट इज माय फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन. बिकॉज until and unless they don't get exposed to this initiative, they will not be able to leverage. And that is the harsh reality of Vidarbha farmers, sir. That is one thing. And second thing is, how we are collaborating with the meteorological department, because as I understand, once I've got a chance to visit a meteorology department which is near airport here in Nagpur, they have 50 years ka data with them about the rainfall and to some extent of the soil as well. So how we are, leveraging that data to train our LLMs, especially for the Vidarbha region. So I'm from Vidarbha, so I'm more talking about Vidarbha. Might be my data figures might be wrong, but that is what I have seen, sir, when I am roaming around in Vidarbha. Thank you.
Great question, but let me get some figures right. Overall in the country we have 7.5 crore farmers who have registered in AgriStack. And Maharashtra leads the entire country with 1.28 crore farmers already registered in AgriStack. And particularly Vidarbha, we have very high levels of registration. In fact, places like Gadchiroli, there are hardly any farmers who are left for registering. So we are getting very good traction. And now going further, what are we using it for? The latest example is we had huge spells of heavy rains, and there was damage to various crops. Now for the first time, the relief was actually distributed to the farmers within 4 to 5 days using AgriStack. Because in AgriStack, the farmer ID is linked to the Aadhaar ID also. The payment was made to Aadhaar linked account. So within 4 to 5 days in Maharashtra, 14,000 crore were distributed to 89 lakh farmers. It's a very huge achievement in terms of how service delivery could be improved. And relief and rehabilitation is only one part. We are using it for all the schemes, all the agriculture DBT schemes are using it. We are using it for generating advisories specific to the farmers. We are using for giving Kisan credit card loans to the farmers. That's also first in India. Maharashtra has done it, and we are scaling it up. For all sorts of extension services, we are using it. Now the second thing you said, what about our extension workers? Now, this Mahavistar chatbot is not only for farmers, it is also for officers, for extension workers, because it gives you validated and authentic information. So when our officers go to the field and talk to the farmer, let's say there's a turmeric farm. Now he should know everything about what are the likely pests and diseases, how to identify them, what to do if there is a pest attack. Now no single person can cram and remember everything. There are at least 30 major crops in Maharashtra. Now he simply has to ask a few questions. What are the standard package of practices? If this is the stage of the crop, what are likely pest and disease outbreak, what to do? And when he goes to the field, he is not looking for here and there. He knows everything, authentic information is fingertip. Our extension workers are using it very, very extensively. And the trust of the farmers is also increasing because they know this person knows everything, how many ml of a particular pesticide and how much liter of water, the entire formulation he is able to tell on the fingertips. So I think it's a great beginning we have made. There is a huge amount of work that needs to be done, no doubt about it, but I think we are on the right track. Yeah, okay. So metrology, actually we also have a lot of data, at least 30 to 40 years data of every tehsil, taluka we have. Now I talked about agriculture data exchange. In edX, the idea is to bring all data sets on a single platform. And if a startup feels that they have a very good solution for forecasting based on the past weather data and some other factors, we will be happy to share them those data sets and come up with their models of forecasting, which will give localized advisory that in, let's say, Hingna Taluka of Nagpur, what is likely to be weather, which could be different from, let's say, Nagpur district as a whole or Vidarbha as a whole. So the farmers in Hingla Taluka know that this is likely to be the temperature, and the temperature is going down, what kind of precautions they need to make, those decisions they can take. So we are happy to partner with the startups, incubators, to work on that data, come up with some exciting new solutions.
And by any chance, are we doing any training program for Gram Vikas Adhikaris? Those are there at the...
Yeah, of course. So capacity building is also a huge initiative. We are also creating learning solutions for our own. In fact, Vanamati is the state apex institution in Nagpur for the entire state, and they are partnered with the AIAIC to come up with training solutions for our own people also.
Hello sir, my name is Ashwin Agarwal and I am founder of a company Dhanya Raksha Analytics. So my question is around two things, hardware and data. So when we talk about Agri AI, it has some specific hardware in the form of sensors and IoT devices. So what are the initiatives to locally produce sensors and IoT devices in India? Because that will be like backbone of Agri AI. And second, as we spoke in the last question about meteorological data, once the data is generated, how we plan to have infrastructure to generate data that can predict pest infestation. So this historical data, if available, can definitely help a lot in model building. So preserving that data for model building and development of hardware infrastructure. These 2 points.
So I think on the sensors part, I don't know what's your definition of IoT, but even the weather stations are IoTs, right? You've lots of IoTs in the satellites which provide lots of information. There's some IoTs which have to be put in the field. Some of them till about 2 years back were imported. I think lots of work is going on in various IITs also even to ensure that they can be produced locally. I can tell you that at the national level there have been some initiatives where the technology transfer also by having treaties with some of these countries like Korea, Israel, etc. Have been worked out. So lots of it is being done, I think at a pace which I would not say is very fast, but reasonable, because these kinds of agreements take lots of time if you're asking somebody to transfer their IP to a manufacturer here in India, because one of the biggest impediment is the IP regime in India is not very strong. So lots of the technology players from other countries, they're hesitant in transferring technology because they fear that this might be replicated or stolen, etc., because of a weak IP regime. Second, I think on the question of having lots of data with, you said 50 years, and somebody else would also have 100 years data. For these systems, having data is not enough. It has to be made machine readable. It has to be standardized in such a manner through putting it in a metadata structure so that it can talk to other systems to be able to produce some insights. That work takes a lot of time, and I think Maharashtra probably again is one of the leading states which has already 1 million farmers having downloaded an AI-based chatbot. In itself is a proof of the fact that that chatbot has lots of back-end data and the compute capacity based on which it is answering questions. Otherwise, 1 million farmers would not have been able to download and talk to an AI chatbot.
Do we have time for more? I just want to ask our host.
Last question, then we will break for lunch.
Hello. Myself, Manohar Bhojwani, Director, Nagpur Dal Mill Cluster, Private Limited. My question to panel, Mr. Rastogi, is that how we should connect directly to the farmers. The first priority is that we are the processors, but we don't know which seed is coming and how is the quality. So this is the, due to this problem, we are facing lot of things in value chain. First of all, I am thankful to Rastogi sir that when I was planning for the complete value chain of these pulses, because there is no value chain of pulses in entire Vidarbha, say in Maharashtra. So immediately they informed me that I will visit your cluster, and sir has visited our cluster, and they immediately told that why don't you convert this pulses cluster into smart protein cluster. And I am really thankful to sir that he has immediately approved this thing, that make it as a smart protein cluster, and he is also given a next gen pulse protein park. For that they have approved 100 acres of land. It is a great achievement for entire Vidarbha and entire Maharashtra, because this kind of project, it is needed, because for this thing we can give the value addition to our farmers, because these pulses are eco-friendly crop. It is nitrogen fixing agent, soil conservative, water conservative, and low carbon emitting crop. So sir, we have sent this proposal to FAO and United Nations also. And in our food processing conclave at IIM, US stuck up due to the flight. Otherwise, at that moment, United Nations guy was there and FAO guy was there. So we are planning at a big level to promote this pulses cultivation in entire Vidarbha and Maharashtra, sir. Only thing is that we have to connect directly to the farmers, that to promote high yielding protein varieties, sir. How this is possible?
Bhojwani ji, I really congratulate the kind of initiative your cluster is taking, and I think if it is executed the way you have conceived, in another 4 to 5 years we will have really a pulse revolution in Vidarbha. Now coming to know on the supply side, how do we ensure quality? You may not be able to reach every farmer, it may not be feasible. I think we should rely on the FPOs. As Honorable CM mentioned in his address, through multiple initiatives, whether it's Government of India's 10,000 FPOs or SMART or Magnet or earlier project of MSCP, lot of FPOs have been registered in Maharashtra, and many of them are doing great work. Now what they are looking for is the committed orders and requirement about quality as well. We have all sorts of seed varieties available. Depending on your requirement, the FPOs will get it produced from their members and supply to you as per the time schedule, and of course the rates that could be agreed upon mutually. I think the FPOs offer a great possibility in terms of aggregation, providing you produce after at least preliminary cleaning, grading, etc., and in an aggregated manner, the timelines and prices that have been agreed upon. So we'll be happy to connect to you some of the good FPOs in Vidarbha and also Marathwada. And I'm sure the protein initiative that you are taking will serve the purpose of a lot of vegetarians who are always in shortage of protein. We import lots of protein supplements from US and other countries. I think it's high time we work on them our own.